Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best films from every continent. We'll be selecting 5 from each continent, except Antarctica, for a total of 30 entries.
These were cut last night around in Damascus. Damascus!
Number 5, Africa, Tuki Buki.
Paris, 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 c'est sur la terre un coin de paradis.
Despite being shown at the Cannes Film Festival in 1973, Djibril Diop Mambéty's Tuki Buki, like so many other African films in its day, was largely ignored and forgotten for years. Made on a shoestring budget by a first-time director with no formal education in filmmaking, critics at the time were largely uninterested. It was essentially unknown in the US for years. However, today, with the benefit of a restoration and re-release, everyone from Martin Scorsese to Beyoncé has championed the film. Much of what were initially points of derision against it, including its small and unpolished feel, clear influences, and the fact that it was set in Mambéty's native Senegal, have drawn contemporary audiences to the road film. Number 5, South America, Wild Tales.
Che, esta mierda no está vencida, ¿no? No dice la fecha. ¿Cómo es? Cuando un veneno está vencido, ¿es más o menos dañino?
As its name implies, Wild Tales is an anthology comprising 6 rather off-the-wall stories. The common thread is vengeance, with ordinary-seeming people pushed too far and snapping, often with disastrous yet hilarious results.
Si me tengo que bajar, me voy a bajar, pero no me parece necesario. ¡Oh! ¡Para!
Argentinian writer-director Damián Cifrón provides a satire of Western society by having characters rally against its constraints. In fact, many of the tales contained in the film draw from his own life experiences. The dark comedy is often seen not only as one of Argentina's best ever films, but one of the best anthologies ever made, with both its director and the large ensemble of Argentine actors earning praise.
Sí.
Ahora vendría el ramo, las ligas y el carnaval carioca. No sé si querés que sigamos, suspendamos.
Suspendemos.
Ay, ¿pero por qué? ¡Qué mala onda que tenés! ¡Chicas! ¡Ahí va!
Number 5, Australia and Oceania, The Piano.
What's in it, then? Bedstead?
It's my mother's piano.
Baines, tell him to carry in pairs. Take all the boxes.
June Campion became both the first woman and the first New Zealander to win the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and was only the second woman to be nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. Campion would go on to take home the Best Original Screenplay Oscar for the historical drama, which tells the story of Ada, a woman who is mute and sent to New Zealand for an arranged marriage. As Ada, Holly Hunter gives a silent and powerful performance, portraying a woman holding on to what she loves in a cruel time.
I'm sick with longing. I don't eat. I don't sleep. So, if you have come with no feeling for me, then go.
She and New Zealander Anna Paquin, in her first ever role, took home Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress respectively in this tale about love, sexual awakenings, and music. Number 5, Europe, Come and See.
Поставка продуктов. Сельского хозяйства. Никто не должен остаться в доме, в сарае, в погребе, на крыше или чердак.
Come and See is a harrowing film detailing the German occupation of Belarus during World War II, seen through the eyes of a teenage boy played by Alexei Kravchenko. His performance in the film is frequently cited as one of the greatest child performances of all time. from the only thing that has won the movie praise. Filmed and released at the height of the Cold War, the Soviet film takes a staunch and often brutal anti-war stance. Its unique mashup of surreal elements and hyper-real violence makes it a difficult yet rewarding watch for any film fan.
Nie Niemcy wy! Nie Niemcy! Śmierć faszyńskim wrogom! Śmierć im! Śmierć! Śmierć!
Ну так ты сейчас вместе со своими это и проделаешь.
Number 5. Asia, Old Boy.
친구나 친척 집에 전화를 할 수도 없다. 난 아내를 살해한 사람이니까. 난 도망자니까.
No list of Asian cinema would be complete without a truly astounding action film, and Korean director Park Chan-wook's Old Boy is tough to beat in that department. The film follows a man, Oh Dae-soo, who is kidnapped, imprisoned for 15 years, and suddenly released, all with no discernible explanation. Dae-soo then goes on a bloody quest for vengeance that includes a long take in a hallway that has been hailed as one of the best action sequences ever shot. Old Boy never flinches in these violent depictions of an often cruel and irrational world, and of a man wholly consumed by his desire for revenge.
사랑해요, 아저씨.
Number 5. North America, Pulp Fiction.
When we got into this thing with the best intentions, really. I never...
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? I didn't mean to do that. Please, continue.
The importance of the indie film revolution of the late 1980s and early 90s in North America cannot be understated. That revolution is perhaps best represented by Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece Pulp Fiction. The film tells several stories that weave through one another, featuring a talented ensemble cast spouting pop cultural references at every turn.
Girl, you'll be a woman soon.
It cleverly combines humor, violence, crime, and a ton of amazing music. The film would go on to inspire untold imitators and help shape American film by propelling both independent cinema and the postmodern movement into the spotlight.
Whose motorcycle is this?
It's a chopper, baby.
Whose chopper is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Number 4. Africa, Black Girl.
Johanna, apporte un plat de riz et du vin.
It's no coincidence that this film, which follows a black woman from Senegal who has relocated to France to be a servant for a wealthy white family, was shot in black and white. The Senegalese woman, Johanna, slowly loses her identity, isolated in the apartment, only seeing the city of lights through her window, and controlled by the family.
Elle ne parle pas le français? Non.
Mais elle le comprend.
Par instinct, alors. Si on veut. Alors, comme un animal. En tout cas, elle fait très bien la cuisine.
Like the black African mask that adorns the white wall in their home, Johanna is presented like an exotic trophy for their visiting friends, one of the many symbols of colonial oppression director Ousmane Sembène placed into the film. Black Girl became the first sub-Saharan film to break through to a world stage and helped establish Sembène as the father of African film.
Tenez. Prenez, c'est pour vous. Prenez.
Elle ne veut pas. Gardez votre argent.
Number 4. South America, Embrace of the Serpent.
Theodore von Martius. Nomo Buena Urite. Nor Buena Ite Apabuena. Onyonyaka. Nor Udatikwe.
The destruction of the Amazon rainforest, along with the peoples and cultures within it, are a key theme in this Colombian adventure film. The film follows Catamakate, the final member of his tribe, across 2 time periods, in 1909 and 1940, as he travels with a pair of foreigners. These colonizers each seek to plunder a sacred plant for their own ends and have little concern for the forest or those that live there. Embrace of the Serpent would earn acclaim at festivals like Cannes and Sundance, and even at the Academy Awards, where it was Colombia's first ever selection for Best Foreign Language Film. The setting and lessons make it essential viewing for those looking to appreciate cinema from South America. Number 4, Australia and Oceania, The Babadook.
Nothing bad's gonna happen, Sam. I'm gonna protect you.
A number of talented independent horror filmmakers have sprung out of Australia, but few have made an impact so immediately as Jennifer Kent with her debut, The Babadook. Like all great horror films, The Babadook manages to be a way to explore real traumas and emotions while remaining incredibly frightening. Examining themes of grief and deteriorating sanity, the film follows a recently widowed mother attempting to raise a child. That child just happens to be haunted by a monster straight out of a very creepy children's book. The titular monster, a black and white figure in a top hat, won over horror fans for its unique design, created with stop motion, giving it a rather unnerving presence. Number 4, Europe, The Seventh Seal.
Vem är du?
Jag är döden.
Kommer du för att hämta mig?
Jag har redan länge gått vid din sida.
Det vet jag.
Set in Sweden during the Middle Ages, The Seventh Seal follows a troubled knight who begins to question his faith in God and eventually encounters the specter of Death himself. Despite being very busy as plague and war sweep across Europe, Death agrees to a chess match with the Crusader. As they play, their conversation allows them to explore a number of existential themes, including religion, the desire to do what is right, and of course, the fact that death comes for us all.
Du är rädd.
Jag har glömt hur pjäserna stod.
Men jag har inte glömt.
The film made director Ingmar Bergman and actor Max von Sydow overnight international stars and has been acclaimed as a masterpiece of filmmaking.
Jag bär inte på några hemligheter.
Så du vet ingenting?
Jag är ovetande.
Number 4, Asia, Tokyo Story.
いらっしゃいませ。
よう。
まあ、しばらくでしたの、ノリさん。ごきげんよろしゅう。
Japanese director Yasujiro Ozu was one of the most influential figures for expanding cinema across the world, often breaking established Hollywood traditions, both narratively and technically. Like many of his films, Tokyo Story is a deliberately paced family drama that bucks conventions like the 180-degree rule in favor of his own minimalist style.
来たの。
ここか、東京のどの辺でしゃ。
橋の方よ。
そうでしょうな。
Coming out just 8 years after the end of the Second World War, the film's themes center around how Japan had been forever changed, its traditional values eroding in favor of capitalist ideas. Tokyo Story's plot highlighted the divide between an older rural generation and their children in a bustling, materially driven world.
どうした？
なんやら今フラッとして。いえ、もうええんです。
よう寝られなんだからじゃろう。行こう。
ええ。
Number 4, North America, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
I have no doubt this boy is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker.
How is that possible?
The darker, more atmospheric second chapter of the original Star Wars saga features a more robust plot, splitting the narrative in half, with Luke separating from his friends. After a thrilling opening section on the ice world of Hoth, Han and Leia's romance deepens while escaping the Empire and dodging asteroids.
I like the sound of that.
Meanwhile, Luke trains as a Jedi as we're introduced to the enigmatic Yoda, who prepares the young man to face his own darkness.
It is the future you see.
Future?
The plots converge at Cloud City, and the film ends with a declaration of love and uncertain fate for Han, while Luke faces off in a thrilling duel with the evil Darth Vader. The culmination of that fight sees a legendary twist and an unforgettable ending.
He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
Not true.
Number 3, Africa, Sankofa.
You can pull yourself up and say no. The choice is either to be a true man or a beast.
The Ethiopian-produced film Sankofa looks at the horrors and aftermath of American slavery from an African perspective. It follows a modern African-American woman who, after visiting and disrespecting a sacred place, is sent back in time to experience the atrocities of the Atlantic slave trade firsthand. Through the film, Ethiopian-born writer-director Haile Gerima highlighted how many Black people around the world today had forgotten and lost their heritage, which had been stolen from them by white colonizers. While the film was largely unknown and not widely distributed upon release, it found a second life in 2021, receiving a 4K restoration and theatrical release via Ava DuVernay and Netflix.
It didn't make no sense to me. It seemed like the more I prayed, the meaner the mass I got. Praying wasn't working. So I just stopped it altogether.
Number 3, South America, The Official Story.
Te das cuenta que le festejamos una fecha que es nuestra, no de ella. Le festejamos el día que la trajiste.
Se lo festejamos el día que la anotamos. Ese es su cumpleaños.
Written during the reign of Argentine dictator Leopoldo Galtieri, The Official Story was initially planned to be shot in secret. However, the toppling of the totalitarian regime allowed Luis Puenzo to film openly, while also allowing Norma Alejandro, a progressive who had fled the country, to return and star in the film. She plays Alicia, an adoptive mother who begins to suspect her child may have been one of the thousands of forced disappearances by the government.
Gaby puede ser la hija de una desaparecida.
¿Pero dónde sacas esas cosas, Alicia?
Alicia's journey, discovering the horrors that she was ignorant of for years, as those she loves continue to embrace a violent dictatorship, mirrors what her country itself had been through.
Era la primera vez que usaba tacos. Y tenía 19 años. Nos casó un buen juez, habló lindo. Lástima que ella no podía parar de reírse.
Number 3, Australia and Oceania, Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Irma! Look at them! Where in the world are they going? Without their shoes!
Based on the classic Australian mystery novel, Aussie director Peter Weir was selected to translate the story of 3 girls who disappear on Valentine's Day 1900 to the big screen. Described as part of the Australian New Wave, the film deals with motifs and is shot in a way that could only come from down under.
Les pantalons. She had no skirt, just les pantalons.
Drawers? You mean she was just wearing drawers?
With cinematography intentionally harkening back to Australian Impressionist painters, the film is a thing of beauty to behold. Its daintily dressed characters explored a landscape that was ancient yet novel to them, one full of forbidden mystery and desire, just as the Lost Girls themselves were. Number 3. Europe, Bicycle Thieves.
¡Al ladro! ¿Qué te è successo?
In the wake of World War II, as poverty gripped the nation, a neo-realist movement emerged out of Italy, with contemporary critics citing it as that country's golden age of film. These films frequently starred non-professional actors as ordinary working-class citizens. Such is the case with Bicycle Thieves, which shows a poor father and son attempting to hunt down the father's stolen bicycle, without which he would lose his job.
Per mangiare come quelli lì poco bisognerebbe guadagnare $1 milione al mese.
The film was instantly canonized and praised for its humanist themes and its emphasis on realism and genuine emotion. Because of this, just 4 years after its release, it topped Sight and Sound's poll of greatest films ever made. Number 3. Asia, In the Mood for Love.
係啦，呢排唔見你先生嘅。
係啊，佢公司有事派咗佢出門。
唔怪之成日面當撞到你啦。
Wong Kar-wai's slow and melancholic film about a pair of would-be lovers is equal parts sensual and tragic. Stars Maggie Cheung as Sue and Tony Leung as Cho play neighbors who, after discovering their spouses are having an affair, begin to fall in love against their better judgment.
你做咩唔打電話俾我？
驚你唔中意啊嘛。
咁你以後都唔好打俾我。
Longing looks captured in slow motion as a somber refrain played over and over make us want to see Sue and Cho finally end up together. However, time after time they miss the opportunity, making this Hong Kong film as heartbreaking as it is beautiful. Number 3. North America, Psycho.
I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Although he had begun during the silent era in his native England, by 1960, Alfred Hitchcock had spent 2 decades working within the American studio system. For Psycho, Hitch took a different, smaller budget approach, filming in black and white with his TV crew. This gives the thriller a much more intimate feel. Perfect for getting into the mind of a deranged killer. Audiences were scandalized by what were, at the time, taboo-breaking amounts of sexuality and violence, with the iconic shower scene shocking filmgoers. Like the rest of the film, it was unexpected, brilliantly shot, and contained an iconic score from prolific composer Bernard Herrmann. Number 2. Africa, District 9.
We're seeing the convoy stop and the operation is about to begin.
Just stay focused.
Following the corporate bureaucrat Wikus van der Merwe, District 9 is set in Johannesburg, South Africa, decades after the unexplained and unexpected arrival of an alien spacecraft over the city. Tasked with forcibly relocating the aliens, known colloquially as prawns, at first Wikus has no problems harassing them for his own selfish goals. However, after an accident, he slowly transforms into a prawn himself and ends up fighting for their cause alongside his new friend Christopher.
Christopher, I know where we can get weapons.
The movie draws heavily from South Africa's shameful history of apartheid and the many horrific activities committed by the government during that time. Just as importantly, it also managed to be a phenomenal action film from first-time director and screenwriter Neil Blomkamp.
Get to the vehicle now! Get it going! Yes, Colonel! Go, go, go!
Number 2, South America, The Secret in Their Eyes.
La verdad es que no sé qué hacer. Morales cada día que pasa está peor. El asesino sabe que lo estamos buscando. Tengo un juez que es un estúpido. A Irene la quiero matar. Y el único tipo en el que confío en este mundo es un borracho, un pelotudo de mierda.
After working in TV in the US for several years, director Juan José Campanella returned to Argentina to make a more personal project about his home country. The Secret in Their Eyes, on the surface, is about a pair of judiciary agents investigating a murder case while feelings develop between them.
Puede ser que esté buena la novela, pero no es para mí. No sé, vos te sentirás en el final de tu vida y querrás mirar para atrás, pero yo no puedo.
However, the setting of the first portion of the film, taking place a year before the rise of a militant dictatorship in the country and the violence that was gripping the nation, is key to the film's context. That, along with a thrilling 5-minute-long shot through a football stadium, make this a tense and unforgettable crime film. Number 2, Australia and Oceania, Mad Max Fury Road. There are few film series as synonymous with a particular continent as the Mad Max franchise is with Australia. After George Miller's original trilogy helped establish the tropes of the post-apocalyptic genre, he tried for years to create a 4th installment. During that lengthy development period, Miller created backstories for dozens of characters and developed thousands of storyboards for a film that would be one long chase scene.
I live, I die, I live again!
After a decade and a half of false starts, the end product was worth the wait. Fury Road is a non-stop thrill ride full of intense practical action and great performances. It's been praised by many as not only a perfect film for adrenaline junkies, but also for its poignant feminist themes.
Where are the others?
What others?
The many mothers.
We're the only ones left.
Number 2, Europe, Lawrence of Arabia.
Well, nil nisi bonum. But did he really deserve a place in here?
Without a doubt, one of the most important figures in British filmmaking was David Lean, who began his career with intimate character pieces, but would become known for epics on the grandest scale. There is no denying that his small-scale film Brief Encounter, showing the unexpected connection between two people, is a masterpiece, impressively shot as World War II was raging.
What is it?
Next Thursday, the same time.
I couldn't possibly.
Please. I ask you most humbly.
You miss your train.
All right.
Even more impressive, though, was Lean taking the intimate character study and putting it into his grandest epic.
And these, having led them here, have you no care for them?
You lead them. They're yours. Trust your own people. And let me go back to mine.
Lawrence of Arabia is rightly remembered for the sprawling adventure shot in Super Panavision 70mm. However, it should not be forgotten how bold of a character piece the film is, examining the life of a great but ultimately flawed man.
Lord Allenby, could you give me a few words about Colonel Lawrence?
What, more words?
Number 2, Asia, Spirited Away. Japan is well known for its animated masterpieces, many coming from acclaimed Studio Ghibli director Hayao Miyazaki. Over his lengthy career, he has made a number of masterpieces like the beautiful and atmospheric children's film My Neighbor Totoro. Spirited Away likewise features a young girl that encounters magical creatures, following the character Sen as she makes her way through a bathhouse for spirits.
Sign your name away, and I'll put you to work. If I hear one little complaint out of you, you'll be joining your parents in the pig pen.
So, do I sign my name here?
Just sign it.
The film received praise for its stunning animation that is largely unrivaled even today, as well as its themes centering on Sen's journey of personal and emotional growth. It received widespread acclaim, winning Best Animated Feature at the Oscars and becoming Japan's highest-grossing film for almost 20 years.
So, you were the one who carried me back into shallow water. You saved me. I knew you were good.
Number 2, North America, Citizen Kane.
I wish I were a little boy going on a trip like that for the first time.
Why aren't you coming with us, Mom?
We have to stay here, Charles.
You're going to live with Mr. Thatcher from now on, Charlie. You're going to be rich.
Directed, starring, and somewhat controversially co-written by Orson Welles, Citizen Kane is a sprawling story of an idealistic man who inevitably becomes dominated by his own greed and hubris. Despite being released over 80 years ago, the film still feels fresh in many ways, as it took what had been successful in a number of other popular film movements across the world and synthesized them into something new.
You don't want to make any promises, Mr. Kane, you don't want to keep.
These will be kept. I'll provide the people of this city with a daily paper that will tell all the news honestly.
In fact, it's difficult to overstate how impactful elements like the cinematography, editing, and overall structure were on future American films. Partially based on the life of various news magnates, chief among them William Randolph Hearst, the story of Kane's manipulations and machinations in news and American politics remain relevant now more than ever.
Hello, Charlie. I didn't know we were speaking. Sure we're speaking, Jedediah. You're fired.
Number 1, Africa, the Battle of Algiers.
Analphabète. Profession, manœuvre, maçon, boxeur. Actuellement sans travail. Situation militaire, insoumis. 1942. Tribunal pour mineurs d'Alger.
Switching back and forth between Algerian resistance and the French military that was fighting them, the Battle of Algiers aims to depict the events of the Algerian War as authentically as possible. It uses a number of techniques to achieve this, including shooting on black and white film stock that was typical for newsreels of the time, and casting people that had been present during the actual events. The result is a film that blurs the lines between fiction and reality, showing the successful and hard-won battle for freedom that the Algerian people went through. Initially banned in France, the film remains relevant to this day, with its powerful message about fighting back against oppression.
Téléphoné à Tunis. À Tunis. J'ai parlé personnellement avec un dirigeant du FLN en exil. Eux non plus, ils n'en savent rien.
Number 1, South America, City of God.
Uma fotografia podia mudar minha vida, mas na cidade de Deus, se correr o bicho pega, e se ficar o bicho come.
Loosely based on the events taking place in an actual suburb of Rio de Janeiro, City of God is an epic and violent crime drama. As the gang war rages through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, in the impoverished suburb of Cidade de Deus, we meet a number of memorable characters, including the narrator Rocket, chasing dreams of being a photographer, and the sociopath Lil Dice.
Como é que é o seu nome, moleque?
Buscapé. Buscapé, irmão do Marreco.
Marreco?
Falecido Marreco.
Vai lá, moleque, se adianta. Aí, moleque. Diz pra todo mundo agora que a boca do Zapê pertence ao Zé Pequeno.
During one sequence, we see the backstory of the latter, where even as a child, he indiscriminately guns down anyone he can for fun. Gritty and unglamorously shot on 16mm film, the movie teems with a sense of realism you cannot escape.
Já ouviu falar no tal de falange vermelho que tá chegando aí?
Não, mas se ele vir, a gente passa ele. Esse livro, quem sabe escrever?
Number 1, Australia and Oceania, the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Here follows the account of Isildur, High King of Gondor, and the finding of the Ring of Power.
When it came time to film the most ambitious fantasy films of all time, there was no question for native New Zealander Peter Jackson where they would shoot. The beautiful snow-capped mountains, mysterious forests, and sprawling plains of the island nation were perfect to capture the epic feel of Middle-earth. Incredible sets, along with makeup and costumes for an ensemble of talented actors, helped to fully realize the fantasy world full of dwarves, elves, and great kingdoms of men. There were also humble hobbits, including Frodo Baggins, tasked with destroying the One Ring and vanquishing the Dark Lord Sauron. Ultimately, all 3 films won near-universal acclaim, earning 17 Academy Awards, including Best Picture for Return of the King.
You shall not pass!
Number 1. Europe. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Therefore, according to the powers vested in us, we sentence the accused here before us, Tuco Benedicto Pacifico Juan Maria Ramirez,
known as the Rat.
A genre that had been born in and slowly faded away in America, the Western took on a stunning second life in Europe in the 1960s. Italian director Sergio Leone trailblazed the so-called spaghetti Western, which often went against the grain of their American counterparts. Nowhere is this more masterfully exemplified than in Leone's epic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which deconstructs the mythologized Old West, swapping white and black hats for a morally gray cast of greedy antiheroes and monstrous bad guys. It does this with stunning cinematography featuring extreme close-ups and long silences punctuated by sudden brutal violence. This is made all the more powerful by the Ennio Morricone score, best highlighted during the Mexican standoff near the film's climax. Number 1. Asia, 7 Samurai. Incredibly influential, not only on future Japanese filmmakers but those all over the world, even many films included on this list. It is impossible to discuss world cinema without mentioning Akira Kurosawa. His film Rashomon, with its unique framing device involving multiple narrators, is unquestionably one of Asia's finest films. But we chose a different film about samurai for this slot. The tale of 7 warriors defending a poor village from bandits during the Sengoku period is somehow both uniquely Japanese, with the honor codes and obligations, yet contains themes that are completely universal. That is evidenced by the many remakes and reinterpretations. However, nothing can top the original. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. North America, The Godfather.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
It's too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
A tragic story of a dark American dream, legacy, and family. The Godfather is studied by film students seeking to understand how to make a great movie. Brilliant direction and visual storytelling from Francis Ford Coppola, paired with a flawless script co-written by him and the original novel's author Mario Puzo, tells the story of the slow yet inevitable corruption of Michael Corleone.
What do you think this is, the army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this, and bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit. Come here. Mwah! You're taking this very personal. Tom, this is business, and this man is taking it very, very personal.
As Michael, Al Pacino turns in an incredible performance, as does the man playing his father Vito, Marlon Brando. They, along with James Caan, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, and others, cemented this movie into film canon as one every cinema fan needs to see before they die.
You're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
Let us know in the comments which 5 from each continent made your lists. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.